she's going to continue speaking for me.
I'll she'll give her her best shot. If not, we got the solid third guy here. I got a lot of stories I could share about Dad. I'm going to be honest with you. I could probably keep you guys here for a couple days with sayings or stories, whatnot. But I did want to take this opportunity to give you guys the dad that I knew, at least. I know some of you guys knew him as Kev or Griff, depending on if you worked with him or saw him with my mom at a party. I don't know. He talked a lot once he got a couple Budweisers in him, for sure. But the dad I knew, he came home every weekend with cinnamon minis and French toast in his hand. When he came home from work from the graveyard shift. And not many of you guys are going to get this joke, but my love for airplanes, he always came in yelling at me, "Hurry, wake up. We got to piss on the runway. There's a seaplane ready to land." Or getting ready to land. I don't know where he ever got that from, but it was one of the funniest things I ever heard in my life. And he said it every time he came home from work on the weekends. I'd be tickled if I didn't get up whenever he got home at that point. If he wasn't in a joking mood, he'd give us our breakfast, go downstairs after chugging 6 raw eggs, and go to work on the speed bag for an hour or two. If you weren't awake by then, you sure would be awake by the sound of the speed bag shaking the house. And depending on if he had somebody in mind behind that speed bag, that'd depend on how hard the house shook that day. So when he wasn't working, he was either watching conspiracy theory documentaries, teaching me how to throw a football, baseball, or telling us about how brutal the old NFL used to be. With naming his favorite players: Elvis Grbac, John Elway, Joe Montana, to name a few. Like I told you, Dad knew early on that I loved airplanes, so accordingly, I had to go out and get a foam airplane and put some rocket engines on them all the time. Yeah, Mom, we bought so many that Mom had to tell him we were running out of money at one point. With those rocket engines, he also found an RC plane that I could actually fly around and work with. And so I flew this RC plane around while he was running track with a 50-pound weight vest on, and he eventually got me to wear the weight vest and run with him. That's the only reason he really wanted me out there. And I crashed that RC airplane probably 7-10 times. We bought probably 10 of them over the entire time. But towards the end, we had to stop losing them because, like I said, we were running out of money. Dad, he's 40-something years old at this point. He thought it'd be a great idea to scale this 50-foot tree that I got stuck 3/4 the way up. It was at this point that I watched him fall from this tree 3/4 the way up that I literally thought I witnessed Superman or he was invincible, because he literally got up and just started walking towards me. And when I was sitting in the ground with my face like just crying because I thought I just watched him die. This guy just gets up and walks towards me like nothing happened, So yeah, he just got right up towards me and came walking.
He used to say fall laterally.
Yeah. I later found out a branch broke his way down, but he still got. My mom thinks he got a concussion from that one at least. He was always a big fan of music. He always made a point to let me know how much funk he had back in his day, for sure. We listened to pretty much the same tracks every day whenever I went over to my grandma's mom's mom. Her house at one summer, basically listened to the same thing over and over and over. He was basically the fan of the same music his entire life. And at that point, Luke entered our life. He made it a point to tell me that, I had to teach Luke things that he couldn't, because he was working the night shift to keep us comfortable. Dad always loved watching us play football, basketball, baseball. I think I broke my arm one time playing soccer right in front of him, funnily enough. But he always loved it, and it always made me proud that I always had to tell Luke, chill on the velocity, my man. You're killing my hand. You're about to break my arm, Dad always warned us, don't wear your arm out. Don't wear your arm out when you're going out there to play. In reality, it was just Luke warming up. It was me having to not wear my arm out. But kind of going on to that, Dad came home one day with his winter coat on. And he had a bulge underneath his coat. Wouldn't tell us what it was doing. And Mom was like, "What is under your coat?" And he finally lets out this tiny little black dog we named Champ. That's who he's going to be buried with today. And he was one of the dogs that helped him out. Throughout his life, he's had a couple dogs. I know he named Chief when he was younger. Really, what? Pete. Sorry.
No, there's Chief and.
Oh, Chief and Pete. Sorry. But no, Champ later in his life is definitely one of those dogs that was there for him whenever he was in a lot of pain, and was a major part of our life, mine and Luke's for sure, because that was our first dog.
Anywho, Champ could easily be a wide receiver with the Chiefs. We played. Dad loved playing. I think Mom posted a thing with him rolling a pumpkin down the street the other day for Champ fetching a pumpkin. But that Dad loved Champ at the end of the day, and that's Dad was also very protective over Mom, Luke, myself, Champ, whoever else is in our family. He definitely told myself and Luke on more than one occasion, I brought you into this world and I can sure as hell take you out.
Yeah. The more than one occasion.
For sure.
I tell that to my own kids.
That being said, he always made sure Luke and I were aware of the debt of gratitude we owe my mom for bringing us into this world and keeping us alive. He definitely had a temper, especially if you had something remotely negative to say about myself, my mom, my brother, or anybody that had had his blood coursing through their veins, quite frankly. He loved everyone in his family very much. No matter how long it has been since he saw you, he always accepted everyone with a big smile and an even bigger hug. He taught me to drive. He taught me how to talk to people. He taught me to be a leader, not a follower. He taught me kindness. He taught me discipline. He is my hero. Rest in peace, Dad.